is it? What do they call it? See what condition my conditions is in. Isn't that a song?
It is, sir. Doing good. I was going to ask you a question. But I may not have to.
Okay, we're about to get started. Commissioners, I've been told that if you would, please turn on your iPads that you have now. That's how you're going to vote. So make sure they're powered up and ready to go, please. Sheriff.
Come to order, please. County Commission is now open for business.
Thank you, sir. I would like to invite Mr. Chuck Hopkins up. He's from the Goose Pond Community Church. Sir, if you'll please give our invocation.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for each and every blessing that you have given us. Lord, you blessed us with a country that's free and where the citizens can have a voice, and it is a government by the people and for the people. Lord, as we gather here this morning, this evening, let us think on that and dwell on that. And Lord, we ask for you to give us the grace and the mercy and the willingness to do what's right in your eyes and not what's right in the world's eyes. And I say these things in our Lord Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Now I'd like to take a moment to recognize just before we do the pledge, please. We want to, while we're in the invocation stage, I'd like to recognize Claude Morse, who's passed away. Great friend to all of us. Known him for 35 years. He was our greatest liaison from this county to ADC. Taught countless people how to shoot, shooting safety, how to be a veteran, how to hold himself. So before we say the pledge, because I want our cadets to lead us in the pledge, I would like for them to do a short ceremony to honor Claude, and then we'll do a moment of silence, and then we'll move forward with the pledge. Commissioner Brown, if you'll bring him back in for the pledge in 1 minute, please, or less. Now we'd please like to recognize a moment of silence on behalf of Commissioner Claude Morse. Amen. I know we all have terrific stories about him. We'll be sharing those in the future. Mr. Brown, if you'll bring your detail up and lead us in the invocation, please, or the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, soldiers.
Back.
Roll call. Should have 15 members present. Next order of business is to approve the agenda. Do we have a motion and a second? For us, properly seconded. Motion.
It's a motion to amend.
Motion properly
agenda.
seconded. Commissioner Hirschman, you want to speak?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to delete item number 11A from the agenda.
And I'll second that with a roll call vote, please.
May it please this commission, I would ask for discussion with regard to this specific motion. And I'll start with Commissioner Hirschman.
I'd like to remind everybody in the commission, as we were elected officials for our county and our districts, of each one of our districts, we were elected by the people of our county, and that's who we're supposed to be serving. I'd like to remind all of us that when we also became commissioners, we did our training with CTASC. CTASC asks us when we vote on things, you vote yes or you vote no. If you don't vote for it and you abstain from a vote, that's a no vote. If everybody will remember that when we were trained, and I'm gonna urge you to vote yes or no on this request. But I don't feel like that we need to drag things through the mud, and that's where I feel like this is happening.
Mr. Hirschman, with respect to you, I would call for a recess to speak with the full commission in the attorney-client, within the attorney-client realm.
Point of order, after this meeting has been convened, only the full legislative body can vote to recess.
Mr. Hunt, I would make a motion to recess.
You're not a member of this body.
Mr. Hunt,
I'll call the question.
the four further matters with regard to specifically new business, section 11A. I would ask that I meet with the full commission.
Can't hear you. Your constituents can't hear you.
Oh,
Thank you.
I apologize. Well, I need to push a button. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Excellent.
With regard to section, 11A, I would ask that I meet with the full commission within, in an attorney-client setting. So I would ask for a brief recess.
I have a question. Haven't you already met with everybody?
Yes.
No, sir. No, sir.
Have you had the opportunity?
We've already been called, you've already brought it to question, is that correct? It's been called to question already, so it's ready to be voted on.
It
Is that not
appears-
correct, Joe? Thank you.
I would like to, if I may, clarify that calling the question and ending debate requires 2/3 majority. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Thank you. It does not require 2/3.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Pettigrew.
There's sort of a technicality here. Mr. Morris said question. So that means he's in favor of voting. And what you were mentioning was if he had said, I move the question, then that would have required a second and a vote on whether or not to end debate.
Questions before us, properly seconded. Do we have any discussion? We're voting on the amendment. Voting on the amendment. Do we have any discussion? Commissioner DeFord.
Is the state comptroller here tonight?
A representative from the comptroller's office is here, yes.
So if this is removed from the agenda, we will not be able to hear what he has to say, correct?
That is technically correct, unless he comes up public comments, but he does have information for us.
We're voting on an amendment to remove section 11 from the order.
Section 11A, yes, from the agenda.
I'd like to remind all the commissioners, I was told last night that people that were watching our talk session last night, to make sure you push your microphone button because they cannot hear anything that we say. So make sure you do that, please. And also, if you would move up closer to the microphone, evidently back here does not work. So move up closer to the microphone if you wanted to speak.
Any additional discussion? Call for the question. We're prepared to vote. All those in favor of removing 11A from the agenda signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no.
Ask for it to be a roll call vote, please.
It technically is a roll call, sir, when it's displayed like this.
To clarify to the chair, are we doing like a vocal roll call vote, or are we voting electronic?
Voting electronically, which is the same as a roll call. Everybody votes individually.
Okay. And we vote yes to approve the amendment, is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Thank you. Absolutely not. I wear two hats in Coffee County government. One of them is Secretary of our county planning commission. The other hat is as an elected official in which I represent my district, and in full disclosure, I will be voting my conscience regarding the issue at hand as a county commissioner.
I have a question. Are we, this vote that we're voting, are we voting to remove item 11A
From the agenda, yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Duncan, you're still open, sir. Okay. Ayes yes, no for. Motion carries. Next, we're approving the agenda in its entirety. That's what we're doing, yes, sir. With the agenda in its entirety, we had a motion and a second on it. Do we have any discussion? We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any discussion on approving the agenda? No discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Ayes, 0 noes, motion carries. Agenda is approved. Now we're ready for public comments. We'll do a maximum of 20 minutes. I'm going to take the liberty to do the first one. I'd like to let some folks know how I was treated by somebody in here, and you can tell.
We'll just have to see, but, and I did not have a confrontational meeting with Sam Edwards either. We were very kind to each other, but just the things that, you know, just him telling me because the law's never been tested, we could pretty much do whatever we want with it. I'm going by the letter of the law. Right. And he had not even seen the Attorney General's opinion, and, you know, it's his livelihood, and that thing's been out since March. So.
Yeah, he's, the last time, in our last training session, I alluded to this issue slightly. I said, in the event that somebody does not obtain this training, which is TCA required, but they are still voting on issues, could that vote be challenged? He said, yes, and that was the end of it.
He told me that too. He said, could somebody go back, even if you reconstruct records and still challenge? Yes. He said, will somebody challenge because you don't have the proper records? He said, yes. He did tell me that on the phone too. And I said, you know, I mean, Dennis, what would be the optics of us having a meeting and going back 3 years and saying everybody's signing that they received that training?
Retroactive, I don't know that would be appropriate.
And so I'm sitting back, being quiet, answering the questions that are coming to me, one from Steve Cunningham, and that's it. Call Sam Edwards, and I did. And I did what Sam said with regards to Steve, and just going to let it.
What was his reasoning for firing Steve? I mean,
he said if it's your determination he's not in compliance, he said you can just terminate him. And he said I'll give you 2 different options to come into compliance. He said one is to go back and reconstruct the records, and the other is to fire everybody and start again.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, we don't have to fire everybody because 2 members still have till December 31st to certify the training they had this year. And I called Sammy and I called Rodney Duncan. I said, you know, you guys come in here and let me take you to Kurt's office and let's do what we got to do. Get your syllabus notarized, whatever it is, and then set up a system where every time the training's done, everybody has a syllabus attached to a sign-in sheet and we get it notarized. And then there's never going to be a problem.
Okay. So, and I promise you, whatever you decide I'm going along with.
Mr. Chairman.
Next public comment, please. 2 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask what Jed Clampett had to do with this?
I thought this was public comment time, is it?
It is, ma'am.
Clarified? All right. My name is Jenny McKee. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. What I have to say is very short, sweet, and to the point. Perfect timing. Thank you, sir. My fear, commissioners, is that you assume that because our county is small, that we are stupid and we will stand by while shady, corruptive behavior, shady politics by our leaders goes on. Now, I'm here to tell you, Mr. Matheny, can you please look me in the face? Thank you, sir. Continue to look me in the face. Sir, you brought my community of Beech Grove's name into your mouth in black and white and made your dumpster fire of an administration public. And I'm fairly certain this room right here is all here to let you know we're willing to be loud and make it public-er. You're still not looking me in the face.
You've got 1 minute.
I'll use that time and wait until you give me the respect that I think that myself and everybody in this room deserves, sir. Thank you. Commissioners, you are being watched. Please conduct yourselves like you are earning or trying to earn our vote. And it upsets me greatly, sir, that I'm here and I have to defend Dennis Hunt. Thank you. I'm gonna go eat my
My administration will not participate in unlawful activities or cook the books and training
I didn't
records.
say unlawful, I said shady, sir.
It's one or the other. It's black or white. It's unlawful. Yes, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Quinn Sullivan. Some of y'all know me, some of you don't. I've had the pleasure of working with several of the commissioners for many years. Also, I'm one of the founder members of Save Coffee County TN, a grassroots organization that was formed about 2 years ago to help protect our county zoning laws and our county growth plan. It was formed out of a necessity to keep private interest group to come in our county and change our zoning laws so they come in and work and do whatever they want in whatever district they want, especially spot zoning. We fought it and we won. And tonight I'm here to ask, I watched a video, Mr. Mayor, last night. The question was never asked, why was only 2 members not served the paperwork that they're gonna be released from their duties?
Because they were both appointed this year, and they both have until December 31st of this year to be in compliance. That's exactly why. The
And
other
Mr.
5
Anderson took the same training as the planning commission, the staff, Manchester and all. Yet, he did not get the paper, no termination paperwork. Why is that?
Who?
Mr. Anderson. He took the same training.
I know, but he has until December 31st of this year, as I said, to properly be certified. He is not out of compliance yet.
Not
That's
yet.
why.
But every one of y'all got documentation that the planning commission did their training. It's held up on a technicality of a piece of paper that says their certified training has been done. That's it. That's what we're all talking about tonight. Mr. Mayor wants to release our planning commission. Why is that? He took his 2 appointees by the hand, went to Murfreesboro, got trained from a different entity
Time's up,
than we
sir.
use.
Time's up, and one of the,
Can somebody yield their time to me?
John Robinson, I yield my time.
All right. So y'all went to Murfreesboro, got trained by a private entity that this county's never used. That's fine. Just like discussed last night. You got certification from a credible institution.
you know what, sir? One of the appointees, Sammy Anderson, was his recommendation, Dennis Hunt, not mine.
I can't hear you, sir.
Dennis Hunt recommended Sammy Anderson, not me.
But you appointed him, did you not, sir?
The commission appointed him, sir.
They'll ratify him.
You got 1 minute.
All right. Even a blind man can see what's going on. The 5 members he wants to discharge, their vote on the planning commission cannot be influenced by the politics of our county. They're credible people. They have worked hard. I worked with them for over 16 years, most of them. I've seen a lot of them come and go off that commission. That's one thing I can say. They went by the book. And it's proven last night when Mr. Cunningham asked Mr. North how many lawsuits. Was 3, am I correct, sir? Only 3? 2 has been adjudicated, 1 still open. Is that correct?
Time's up, sir. It's worth
They
voting.
yield their time to me, sir.
Okay, I'll get you started in just a second. You know, here's what it is. Nobody doubts the credibility of anybody on the planning commission. That's never been done. But the state law has been violated in how the records are kept, and that leaves us open to a great weakness. I've been to 7 different counties, studied and studied and studied their growth plans. I've watched 5 mega sites be built in this state. I know where the mistakes are made. We have to prepare for this growth so we don't end up like Murfreesboro. We don't end up like Gallatin.
That is correct, sir. That
And
is
let me tell you,
correct.
our planning commission has done nothing proactive to do this. They should have been out finding places for schools, corridors for roads, utilities out to underserved areas. They've
We
done nothing.
disagree. We all disagree with you, Mayor. We got a growth plan. The planning commission goes by our growth plan and our zoning law, so we don't wind up like Rutherford County. Nobody here, think about it, commissioners. We choose to live in this county. We choose not to live in Rutherford County in that mess over there. There's the reason why we do live here. We don't want our county looking like Rutherford County. We don't want Manchester all jammed up like Murfreesboro. Our county has grown and will continue a natural growth. Look at Murfreesboro. They have infrastructure problems constantly. How they fix it? They raise taxes, property taxes.
They didn't plan properly either. And your 2 minutes is up. They did not plan properly.
Should I continue? Just give me the time and I'll shut up. Let me finish saying what I'll say, Mr. Mayor, and I'll sit down, let somebody else have the floor. We don't want Manchester looking like Murfreesboro. If we did, we would live there. We don't want higher property taxes. If we did, we'd move to Murfreesboro. But can't y'all understand? This county don't want to be like Rutherford County.
We're trying to do the exact opposite of what you're saying.
But at the same time, our planning commission had went by our growth plan, our zoning laws. Some of it probably needs to be tweaked a little bit. However, they went by it and kept this county out of many lawsuits. And that's one from my organization itself. We have teams of lawyers just like a lot of group does.
2 minutes, sir, is up.
I want to ask, I got one more thing to say. I'm addressing all the commissioners. Tonight, well, we should have voted tonight. We're asking, the people of Coffee County are asking y'all to vote to govern. Don't vote to be somebody's puppet. And this is what's going on. Look at the ambulance authority, what he's done with it, trying to dissolve it. This man wants total power over our county. I say no. Y'all are the power people. Y'all the ones that get to select and do what's right for the county, not the mayor. He can bring agendas to this floor.
Time's up,
but
sir.
y'all are the people in power to elect and select what's going on in our county. I'm
Time's
sorry,
up.
Mr. Mayor.
Time's up.
I do not agree with your politics, and the people in this room and the rest of the county do not agree with your politics. The good old boys' days are coming to an end. Thank you for your time and your patience.
Go ahead, ma'am. If you'll state your name, you have 2 minutes, please.
Sarah Bradley. I'd first like to say that it is a tremendous mistake to assume that because you are in a crowded room, that everyone is in agreement. I am appalled by what I have seen and heard from those opposed to this attempt to legitimize a planning commission that has not been in compliance with the plain language of a state statute that is really very, very simple to follow. It's like me giving a group of students some easy bonus work at the end of the semester. Write your name and the date and the title of the class and 3 things you learned today on a paper, and I'll give you 100 points. If the instructor of this course is the purported expert on these matters, you'd think his sign-in sheet would be in order.
15 seconds.
Furthermore, please reject school budget agenda amendment 4. The services that we are awarding were not procured in compliance with TCA 492406, something like that. We got a real big problem around here with people in this room
Time's up, please.
thinking they're above the law. You are not.
We have time for one more speaker, and then I want to hear from the representative of the comptroller very quickly. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Sid Sandstrom. Before I came to the meeting, I read through the codes of the Coffee County. I'm concerned that perhaps the mayor does not understand the purpose of the Planning Commission according to the county codes. It says that the Planning Commission is to rule on codes, whether somebody's in violation or in accordance with the codes. From the letter that I heard, and I heard you tonight say that the Planning Commission had not been proactive in creating jobs or promoting industry. That's not the purpose of the codes.
You heard nothing to the such, sir. I said they have to plan for where the government's going to grow. How are we going to build roads? Where are we going to put future schools? That's what they should also be doing. The state's land use plan says they should
According
be
to
doing
the county codes,
And I'm
the
well aware of
Planning
the county
Commission is
codes.
to rule on whether something is in
Correct.
compliance with the codes or not in compliance with the codes, not to promote industry and to be proactive in creating jobs.
I did not say the latter. The reason I want them in compliance is so we don't get sued in the future, because the public deserves an objective, fair planning commission that's properly seated and has followed state law. And the comptroller's representative is going to come up here in a minute and refute what was said last night about we didn't have to follow state law in our planning commission. Your 2 minutes is up, sir, and
Thank you for taking part of my time. I appreciate it.
you're welcome. And Brian from the Brian, are you here from the comptroller's office still?
This is our time. You took half the time, sir.
Is he a citizen of the county? If not, I'd like to.
And officially, he had 30 seconds left.
Can I ask you a question, sir? Would you come to the podium? You, sir.
Yeah, sure.
No.
Oh, okay.
The individual behind you from the comptroller's office.
Be a member of the county, if resident? If not, then it doesn't need to speak in public time. That's absolutely your board policies, and you've already violated.
We're over public comments, sir. We just ended them. Sir, I just wanted to ask you,
After you use
does our planning commission and other entities within Coffee County government have to first and foremost follow state laws and rules before we follow our own resolutions?
Yes, sir. The statute governs the actions of the planning commission as far as training and certification.
So if the state law says they must have proper certification done a certain way, they must do that. They cannot allow county rules to supersede that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next item. Next item, public comments over. Review and approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Motion, do we have a motion on approval of the meeting minutes? Motion and second before us. Do we have any discussion?
Doesn't matter, you'll take half of it anyway. I'm out.
I'm gonna have you removed from the room if you continue outbursts.
That's okay, I'm removing myself and your shady politics.
Guys, we're gonna have order, or we're gonna have to leave the room. This is an official meeting. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on approving the minutes? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Ayes have it, 15, motion passes. Now we go to resolutions of memorial, sympathy, proclamations, and commendations, and I would like to read a proclamation for Mrs. Jane Madrell. If you'll give me just a second to get up here. I think these are very important to honor. This is a proclamation to commemorate September 28th as Mrs. Jane D. Madrell Day. Whereas this day, the 28th of September, 2023, is to be known countywide as Miss Jane Madrell Day, created to recognize an upstanding citizen of our community who is also one of the oldest residents of Coffee County. Whereas Miss Jane Muldrow is a delightful lady who made an impact on those who learn from her home economic skills. She's the proud mother of one son, Alfred, as well as a doting grandmother and great-grandmother. Miss Muldrow was born and raised on a dairy farm in Maryville, Tennessee, moving away as a youngster. She returned to Tennessee where she completed high school after living in California for 6 years. Whereas Miss Muldrow earned her home economics degree from UT Knoxville in 1945, then taught in surrounding counties but considered Tullahoma home. She was the food service director for the city of Tullahoma from 1970 until she retired. Her home church is First Presbyterian Church on Grundy Street. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Judd Matheny, Mayor of Coffee County, do proclaim the 28th day of September as Mrs. Jane D. Muldrow Day, and it happens to also be her 100th birthday. So if we could have, we have a motion and a second on her proclamation. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote to honor Miss Muldrow. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those vote no. Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, next, we have some certificates of recognition for some soldiers that,
Mr.
down
Chairman.
here and to the
Mis-
podium, bring you up.
I want to call point of order.
Yes, sir.
Calling point of order. We did not vote on that just now. We voted on approving the minutes, and then when you just got done reading that, you called for a vote, and I never saw anything come up on my
Was there a
screen.
motion and a second on it? Okay, do we have a motion and a second on Ms. Muldrow then? That's what I thought. There was a motion and a second. We were
Yeah,
ready.
but we was in the process when you started, when you moved on to the next one, we was in the process of voting.
We have a motion. Commissioner Stubblefield, did you second it? Okay, you made it. Okay, now do we have any discussion on Ms. Muldrow? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. 15, thank you. Now, I would like to come down here and recognize these recruits very quickly. All right, next is number 9, elections, appointments, and confirmations. We have a parliamentarian to choose. Floor is open for nominations.
I nominate Mr. Joe Pettigo if he would continue to
Pettigo.
serve.
Mr. Pettigo is nominated.
I would second.
We have a second. Do we have any additional nominations? Do we have any? Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion on nomination cease.
Nominations have ceased, and Mr. Pettigo, you win by acclamation. But we'll go ahead. he does a fantastic job. Okay, let's do it on the machine, make it absolutely perfect. We could get a motion in a second. We had. Motion second, and nominations had ceased. Be noticed. Does anybody need to discuss anything? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye, and those opposed vote no. Hoo-ah, you win, sir. Anonymous. He's great about taking phone calls at any time. Next are the committees. If you'll remember in September, we asked about if anybody wanted to change any committees. Nobody said no. So what we're voting on is to keep the comprehensive committee list as it is. That's in your packet. There's no changes whatsoever. This just codifies what we have now. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none?
Nobody's pushed a button.
Oh, we had a motion and a
Okay,
second.
there we go.
Now we have a motion and a second. Now do we have discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carried. Next is Policies and Procedures Committee. We will have an addition here. Register of Election Andy Farah has been chosen by that committee. We had one individual that had to leave. Mr. Farah has accepted the responsibility and the opportunity, but we need to officially approve that. So we have a motion and a second to add Mr. Andy Farah to the Policies and Procedures Committee. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is approval of our 2 judicial commissioners. If you recall, the process is they'll be interviewed by sheriff, DA, members of the law enforcement committee, myself, supervisor over judicial commissioners. Then they'll be chosen by the law enforcement committee, which then will forward them to us for hiring. And we need these 2 folks, 2 very good candidates. We're very fortunate to have both of these individuals, Courtney Zeitler and Katrina Vaughn McGee Lester. Are either one of you here would like to stand up? See you both in the back. Thank you very much. So we need to vote to hire them as judicial commissioners. Do I have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you, ladies, and welcome aboard. It's a very important position. Okay, go to unfinished business very quickly. Animal shelter update. The Tom Rice family and Tom and Karen Rice here in Coffee County donated 3 acres of land to us, prime property valued at $290,000 on Highway 41 to build a new animal shelter. We are in the process of, and we have the deed to that, we're in the process of cleaning that property now and getting it prepared to be bush hogged and mowed. And we have an RFQ out for an architect right now. As you know, the county has put $500,000 aside for it, and I have commitments of another $1 million to go with that in donations that will come in throughout the construction process. And I will continue to raise money for that shelter for additional things. So it's coming along quite well. And next is Health Department construction status. We had a meeting today to brief the Health Committee on that. We did award an architect for that job to St. John Engineering, and they will be rendering their architectural plans to us in conjunction with working with the state and some other entities. At that time, the Capital Outlay Committee, I'm sure, will do their due diligence, and then they'll decide when and where to put it out for bid, and then we can actually start the construction process. The budget's close to $5 million. In the meantime, we are adding on to the parking lot of the Tullahoma facility, making sure, because Cedar Lane is being widened, Wilson's being widened. They lost about 2/3 of their parking lots. We're having to build about 15 or 18 new parking spaces. Rick with our maintenance department is heading that up, and that's coming along quite well. But we're gonna have to use that facility for a couple more years and before the new one's built. But it is coming along very well. Next is serving the county rural residents with water services. I've met with Manchester City, Tullahoma City, Wartrace, Hillsville, and West Warren-Viola, and discussed different ways that we can get water out to more of our rural residents. We had about $250,000 in pipe that the commission purchased some time ago. Manchester City has used that in the rural areas. I asked them for an accounting of that pipe, and I received it in about 10 minutes in a very nice document. It was very well audited, and have zero reason to believe that all that pipe wasn't used for its proper purposes. This commission will need to begin in earnest looking at ways to continue that service, buying additional pipe, creating opportunities with the existing utilities in order to get the water out there. Most of the utilities I spoke with, of course, they're looking for grants, other types of money to help them put that pipe in the ground. West Warren-Viola is now looking at a location, and I've been riding around with them some, for another water tower to serve more of the Beech Grove area, so we can supplant some of the Wartrace system out there that's not very good, and get better pressure out there and get our flows up on water. And Commissioner Morris has been a great help in talking with these folks and helping me plan that, and I really appreciate that. And but we got a long way to go to serve our rural residents, and it takes a lot of planning to do that, so we're working on it. Does anybody else have anything to add to those? Okay. Go to new business. 11B, personnel manual approvals. We have to officially vote to make Juneteenth a holiday. I believe it was approved by legislative and policies and procedures, but we need to put it in our book, so we need to vote officially on 11BI. Need a motion and a second, please. Motion is second before us, properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is to ratify our entire Coffee County government holiday schedule for 2024. You have that in your packet also. These are the ones that we will officially recognize. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Mr. Nettles, you're open. There you go. Carries. Thank you. Next, we're going to budget approvals. We have school budget amendments. They're in your packet, 11C, I, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. First one we'll vote on is number 141-2024-3. We have a motion. We have a second. It's properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. Before we do, Ms. Mariana, do you have anything to add?
No, if there's not any questions.
Okay.
I don't.
Thank you. We're prepared to vote then. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Next is item 2, Budget Amendment 141-2024-4. We have a motion. We have a second. It's properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is number 3, item number 141-2024-5. A motion is second. It's properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries, and the final one is 141-2024-6. Motions for us? Properly seconded. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Now we are going to, motion carries. Thank you. Now we're going to II, number 1 on the next page, budget amendments, General Capital Projects Fund, number 171-2024-04. We have a motion, we have a second, it's properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Next is number 2, budget number 101-2024-06, Fund 101 in the General Fund.
Can I ask a question? Mariana, have all of these with dealing with our budget, have they been run through Budget and Finance? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
These were all approved on November 2nd.
We have a motion and a second, properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Next is number 101-2024-05, Recovery and Prevention Court. This is standing up what used to be the Drug Court, now being called the Recovery Court. It is not going to be a nonprofit 501c3. It'll be a county entity. At the same time, we are standing up the Anti-Drug Coalition again, so we can get back into the schools and get back into the community with our messages. This money comes from the Opioid Abatement Fund. It is not county money. We're asking for $200,000 out of that fund, which we have, how much, about 300 and something?
297.
290. So we're asking for 200 of it for a 2-year cycle. And the state of Tennessee, in my negotiations, has agreed to give us an additional $100,000 a year recurring. So this gives us $200,000 a year to stand up both entities. They're going to share staff, share directors, and share office space. So that's what this does, and there's no county money involved in these.
With the old drug court, is the county on the hook for any of that?
I'll let Mr. North answer that. Turn it on.
The Drug Court Foundation, the old Drug Court Foundation, is its own entity. So what we are talking about is something that is not within that entity. So we are not tying on to any of their liabilities, if you will. Commissioner.
Okay, so if there's a judgment against them, Coffee County's not liable for
No,
the
yeah,
damages?
I
Okay.
gather your question.
All right.
Yes,
but
sir,
no.
we made sure that there would be clear severance. We didn't even want the same name. The whole concept was agreed upon by all three school systems, all of our judges, and our DA. Everyone agreed on this plan.
We've just separated ourselves now from what used to be. and
Completely, yes,
The
sir.
liability from the old drug court, whatever may happen in court, does not fall back to us to be responsible.
Correct, and we have full control over it. I have asked the Law Enforcement Committee to be the one to oversee the two. And so Commissioner Chairman DeFord has said, okay, so they will report quarterly to the Law Enforcement Committee, both entities, so that way we'll be able to stay in very close touch with them.
Yes, sir, I've worked on that a lot.
Yes. So we have a motion and a second. We had some discussion. Do we have any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carries. Thank you. I anticipate sometime in first quarter of next year, both of them should be fully functional. Once state money starts rolling in, we're going to try in earnest in January to start standing them up. Next one's number 4, 118-2024-07, Ambulance Service Fund. This is an attempt to help recruit more EMTs and paramedics. It's a chronic problem. I've visited many counties and talked to them about the issues. I've been to county mayor association meetings. Everybody's having a tough time with recruiting and retention. So I'd like to get Commissioner Stubblefield, but I would, Commissioner Stubblefield, would you just address very quickly why we're doing this?
Well, I will, Mr. Mayor, but this is the ambulance fund.
Oh, it's not the, okay.
This is a different topic that we're
All
voting
right,
on.
go ahead and just talk about this one then, since I was going to tuition reimbursement, so.
Okay, this is about budget finance has passed this. This is for funding to have a maintenance agreement with Stryker Company for
Yes.
maintenance of our cots, our power cots, and various equipments, our cardiac monitors, and things like that. It's gotten to the point where we're going over our budget, our line item budget with these things, and a maintenance agreement seems more feasible than doing what we've been doing.
Okay, so you've heard explanation. Do we have a motion in a second? Motion and second is properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is number 171-2024-08, Rural Capital Projects Fund. It's in your packet. Entertain a motion and a second for any discussion. We have a motion. We have a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Next is Triple I, which is the Manchester Library grant requests. First one is for $6,000 for Nourishing Minds. Need a motion and a second for any discussion. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Triple I number 2 is a $20,000 Library Transforming Communities grant. We have a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. It's properly before us. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. We have no grants to vote on tonight for us. We do have notaries to approve, and they're in your attachment. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on the notaries? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Next is G, resolution number 2023-22. It's rezoning of 3004 Murfreesboro Highway, owned by Jose Cruz, from RS1 to C2. This property is designated as a portion of tax map 08. The Manchester Regional Planning Commission sends this with a positive recommendation. We have a motion. We have a second, and we have someone for discussion. Chairman Hunt.
I just want to remind everybody how even though this property lies in rural Coffee County, it is within the urban growth boundary of Manchester, which means this request goes to the Manchester's City's Planning Commission first, and as our chairman has stated, it did get forwarded to us with positive recommendation, and they held the public hearing at their facility for this.
Thank you for that explanation. Do we have any other discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Next is H, rezoning request of 5423 McMinnville Highway. Open for discussion and a vote. We have a motion. We have a second. We have discussion. Chairman Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is also a rezoning of property that lies entirely within the rural area of Coffee County. This because a planning commission meeting was canceled. The applicant automatically was approved because it was not addressed by our planning commission in the amount of time. I think it's 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not addressed by our planning commission, it automatically comes to us. So I just want to explain how that works. We did have a public hearing. There was absolutely no objections to this by any neighbors. It was properly advertised as well. So it does need to be passed.
And it came with a positive recommendation from our codes department. So we've had some discussion. Do we have any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries. Next is Resolution 2023-16, Coffee County Commission meeting dates for calendar year 2024. They're in your packet. They state all the regularly stated meetings that we will have. Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is our strategic plan for 2024 and 2029. To vote acceptance or not, I'll just throw this out there first. Two of the people that worked on this very hard, I know there's some commissioners in here that did too, but the actual author of it, Commissioner Seaborn and Commissioner Morse, are not here to explain a lot of the things within it. So it's up to this commission, but it may be why you have it. It's the one they want to have. If you want to go ahead and adopt it, we can. If you'd like to wait until they can be here to explain it fully, we can do that too. It'd be your discretion. I can entertain a motion to adopt it. Motion? Properly seconded? Any discussion? They did a good job planning on it, and we'll take a vote now. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carries. Now we're to the one I was talking about, Commissioner Stubblefield, the paramedic, critical care medic, AEMT, and basic EMT school funding discussion and vote. If you would, we have a motion and a second. Address that, please.
Okay, this is this went through policy and procedures and budget and finance, and it's passed. And what it is, if it's say the EMS hires somebody and they need to go to, and they want to put them through school, or if they're already working and want to upgrade from an EMT to a paramedic, the county will pay for their schooling. In return, you know, they'll have to sign a contract for, if they're a paramedic, to work for 2 years, EMT to work for 1 year. But the county will fund their schooling. And if they leave in between times, it's prorated.
There's a clawback if they leave before
Right,
they.
if they leave in between, if they hadn't served out their contract, it'd be prorated to.
That's great work all these committees did in putting this together. This is a great tool to help us recruit, and we can't stress how important training is, and we cannot, so we'd like to be able to give that to them. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carries. Now we are to reports from committees. Now, as always, all the minutes from all of our meetings are in your packet. Committee chairman or someone here from the committee, you're plenty of time to talk about what you'd like to talk about, or we can just refer it to your minutes. The first will be budget and finance. Chairman Seaburn's not here, but Chairman Hunt.
I'm vice chairman of that, and that was the first time I oversaw that meeting. It's
Well, you're
pretty
chairman all-
complicated. So if you would, please defer to minutes for that meeting.
Health, welfare, and recreation. Chairman Hollingsworth.
Yes, I would like to refer everybody to the minutes. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, November 28th at 6 p.m.
Thank you, and you did a great job helping out with Halloween too with your committee. Thank you very much. And Commissioner Hobbs, you did a great job on that too. Law Enforcement Committee, Commissioner Ford.
You can refer to the minutes. We had a special called meeting last Thursday to approve the two new judicial commissioners. Our next meeting tentatively will be December 14th at 4:30.
Thank you. Beer Board, any business? No business. Capital Outlay, Chairman Hunt.
please review our minutes.
They're doing a lot of work. Policies and procedures. Chairman Hurst?
Yes, I'd like to refer to our minutes, and also, we'll have our next meeting on November the 20th, which is next Monday. And our secretary has asked that we remind all the heads of their committees to please forward who your secretary is of your committee to her. So when we have a piece of legislative document that's been passed, that it gets passed on to the next body, that we're having problems with that being done. And if she has a list of all the secretaries of each committee, that'll smooth that out.
Thank you, sir. Industrial Board, anybody here to report? In your minutes. Another group doing a lot of hard work. Strategic planning, I guess Chairman Hollingsworth, you may have to address that.
I'd like to defer that over to Dennis on strategic planning.
I didn't hear you. You're looking at me, but I didn't hear you.
Strategic planning, do you have anything for it?
We adopted their plan tonight.
Oh, the strategic?
Yes,
plan?
sir.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the strategic planning. I'll need to mention that our chairman of strategic planning, Lynn Seaburn, is sitting with his very ill wife at Vanderbilt, and all of us need to keep him in his prayers and her. And I think we're going to hold off presenting this because he and Claude Morris worked so hard on it. Would that be appropriate? I'm not sure when we actually presented that full plan, but
I
can
think
you?
that is appropriate to let them do it. We could maybe do it in January. But you do have it in your packet. You can go ahead and read it, and we can adopt it as general guidelines for this county's movement.
I would like to let Commissioner Hollingsworth read that. He's easier to listen to than I am.
Yes, okay, Chairman Lynn Seaburn called the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. The agenda for this meeting was to be reviewed and finalize goals and recommendations for the strategic plan. An update list of goals and recommendations reviewed in the previous meetings was presented. The committee continued to review the goals and recommendations, and suggestions for updates were made. Chairman Seaburn proposed at the next meeting he would write a draft on the strategic plan, incorporate goals and recommendations discussed. There being no other business, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, sir. Next is any planning commission. Chairman Hunt.
Which one are we on?
12I, Planning Commission.
Oh, the Planning Commission, we have nothing to report.
Next, Board of Zoning Appeals. Jay, Commissioner Hunt.
No business.
Purchasing Property Sales Committee, Commissioner Hollingsworth.
Nothing to report at this time.
Ambulance Authority, Chairman Stubblefield.
You can look at the minutes, nothing to report except we have a meeting Thursday at 5 o'clock, conference room 1.
Thank you. Joint Economic and Community Development Board, we have nothing to discuss, but we're going to have a meeting very soon, and I want to go over our strategic plan with them at that time. We're probably actually going to move that meeting out a week, right, to December?
Yes.
We're actually going to move it to early December. We'll send notices out. Investment Committee had no activity. Solid Waste Board, Chairman Hunt.
That's what I've been preoccupied with here, trying to find our minutes, because I wanted to remind everybody, when we approved our county's official holiday calendar, our sanitation board tries to adjust our holidays so people with all the gift wrapping and ribbons that need to be thrown away, you'll see that our convenience centers may have the different hours and the holidays. Commissioner Nettles, do you have the calendar dates in front of you? My file's full of stuff, but I just can't find that one. Anyway, it's just worthy to note, our convenience centers do not operate exactly on the same holiday schedule as all other Coffee County businesses. Thank you.
But they do update their website regularly. Yes, you can find any changes.
Correct, it would be posted.
Legislative Committee, Chairman Morris obviously is not here. Who would like to address Legislative Committee?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We're trying to get all those things that Mr. Morris, Chairman Morris had.
Yes.
So we're reorganizing and bringing those things, make sure that the agenda is brought. We have
Yes,
another meeting on the
you guys-
27th.
Yes, you have a lot going on right now, I know, and I'm sure you'll get organized again. Rural Roads and Bridges.
No business to report.
IT Committee, no activity. 911 Board, Chairman Stubblefield.
No activity. You can read the minutes. We have a meeting December the 20th, Wednesday, at 5 o'clock.
Audit Committee had no activity. EMA Homeland Security, Chairman Hollingsworth.
No, sir, we didn't have anything going on, but we will meet in the month of December.
And I am, I guess, chair of the regional EMA group, and we're working on now how to disperse what meager federal funds we get for that, but we're working on that. Wayside Wastewater Authority. Anybody here from the Wastewater Authority? They're doing a great job getting that balance down fast. Nobody here. Library Board. In your minutes, we're with Lanham and Manchester. Election Commission, do we have any updates? County Board of Equalization had no activity. Coffee County Highway Commission. Be in your minutes. Public Records Commission. Be in your minutes. Moving to number 13, do we have any statements or announcements? Seeing none, our next meeting, stated meeting, will be January 9th, 2024. Before we adjourn, do we have any discussion about anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. We're adjourned.